Hey guys, back with another video for today's slate. We're going to go over the bets from last night. Started off the year, or the first 2 days, 1-8, so really bad. Turned it around last night. We went 10-4, so 11-12 on the season, still down 1 unit. Jumping into the first game from yesterday, Arizona at Columbus. The expected goals for had Columbus ahead. Same with huge mismatch in goalies. So we were definitely expecting Columbus to win. That being said, there was no value on either side. So I didn't bet this game. In hindsight, you had to think Columbus was a slam dunk just because Arizona, the team is in really bad shape. Hutton's in net. Another key theme of this game actually was, and I completely forgot about it, Columbus was honoring the late goaltender Kivlenieks, who died, I believe, over this summer. And Merzlikins was his best friend, so you knew they were going to come out and play, and they did. They won 8-2, so complete rout. But no, we didn't bet that game. Next game, Dallas and Rangers. This was close across the board. The only outlier was Holtby's statistics from last year, which we couldn't take into account too much because he was playing with Vancouver, whereas now that he's with Dallas and he had a really good preseason, Dallas is a much more defensive team. He should fare better. That being said, when you looked at the goals saved above average stats here, it looked like the Rangers should win this game, but the value was on Dallas's money line, so we went with Dallas money line and spread. They won 3-2 in overtime, so that was a nice hit. Next game, we had Montreal and Buffalo. I mentioned in the last video the line looked really weird. I figured Montreal should be way more favored. It really looked like a trap game. That being said, I definitely expected Montreal to win, even to win by 2 goals. But there was no value on the money line for Montreal. The value was on Buffalo and the spread, and that's exactly what we took. There was a goalie mismatch here, Anderson and Montembeault, and we managed to get the win on that. Even though we weren't expecting to win this game, you always go with value. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be picking winners or trying to pick winners. You should be picking value based on, predicted win percentages versus the money line. Because we know already at the start of this season, any team is capable of beating any other team. Next game, Islanders and Carolina. This was another close one that I didn't bet on. Carolina definitely the better team, especially in goals for. The only thing that had me a bit sketched out was the goaltending matchup. But Anderson did well. I mean, he still allowed 3 goals, but Carolina won 6-3. Another strong performance for them. They don't look like they've missed a step. Next game, Pittsburgh and Florida. Expected goals for, we had Florida winning. That being said, value was on the Pittsburgh money line. So we took Pittsburgh money line and their spread. So we broke even on that game. Florida ended up winning 5-4 in OT. As you can see here, the numbers were pretty tight, and Florida only won by a goal, and it went to overtime. Next game, Toronto and Ottawa. As I mentioned before, Toronto definitely the better team. But when we're looking at value, the value was on Ottawa and their puck line, which is exactly what we took. And Ottawa hauled out the win 3-2. Tampa Bay, Detroit, another really close one. I would have thought, Tampa Bay coming off a blowout loss to Pittsburgh, they would have spanked Detroit, but In this case, the data did come through for us. It was a really tight game. Detroit was up 6-3 at one point, and Tampa Bay came back to win 7-6 in OT. Crazy game. Bertuzzi had 4 goals. Really entertaining game. And of course, because the game was so tight, statistically, the value was on Detroit money line and spread. So that's exactly what we took. We break even on that game. Next game, Seattle, Nashville. This was another really tight one. You can see here, Seattle had a slight advantage in expected goals for. The big difference for me was Grubauer and Saros. Saros had a pretty amazing .77 goals saved above average. I expected that he'd get it done, and with those numbers, we did find value on Nashville money line and puck line. However, they lost 4-3. And as I mentioned in the last video, when you got 2 really good goalies, as you can see, Grubauer's above average, both are capable of stealing the game. So it can go either way. But we took the value and we lost that one. And the last game, Vegas and LA, you can see here Vegas, strong across the board. They're going to control pretty much everything. I mentioned Leonard and Peterson, pretty close matchup here. Peterson, good at home, goals saved above average. When we get to here, we can see that it's a much tighter game than the line suggested. And we took LA money line and the puck line. LA blew them out 6-2. So this is what I mean. You can't really predict who's going to win the game. You just have to come up with your own predicted win percentage, compare it to what the sports books are offering, and then take the value. In this case, we turned that into a 10-4 night, whereas the 2 days before on that strategy, we were 1-8. So there's going to be plenty of ups and downs throughout the year. The goal is to find value and use that profit in the long run. So moving into today, we got a small slate, 3 games. You can see here Chicago and New Jersey. Now this data is all based off projected lineups. I'm getting this video out earlier than the past 2. So the lineups could change throughout the day. Same with goaltenders. So if you want, my picks, that's going to be closer to game time. You can message me to sign up on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you want to message me, and I'll be providing my picks based off the latest information. This data here is just to give you an idea of what the game is looking like, and you can use this as a tool to help you with your decision making. Anyway, so Chicago and New Jersey. See, New Jersey got the advantage in Corsi. Slight advantage for Chicago in expected goals for. Jersey has the lead in scoring chances, high danger chances. We can see here with we're projecting Fleury and Bernier. Chicago could very well give Lankinen the start. We'll see. Fleury is definitely the better goalie in terms of expected goals against, but pretty even goals saved above average here. When we look at the final stats, this is looking like a really tight game. I believe the current line is plus 105 Chicago, negative 125 New Jersey. So that definitely reflects the data we're showing here. Next game, Vancouver and Philly. We can see Philly has the edge in Corsi. Pretty significant advantage in expected goals here. Same with scoring chances and high danger chances. Where things get tricky with this game, we're projecting Demko to start and Hart. Hart had a really down year last year, but we know the talent this kid has. It's going to be interesting to see how he does this year, how he starts out. So we can see that Hart has a much better expected goals against, but Demkos has been the better goalie over the past year. in terms of goals saved above average. Our final numbers, we have Vancouver winning this game, but we don't really know what we're going to get in hearts. So I find it hard to take Vancouver here. I'll definitely be making my pick based on value. And the last game, we have Minnesota and Anaheim. Anaheim pulled off a huge upset over Winnipeg a couple nights ago, even though Winnipeg completely outshot them, really dominated the game, but Anaheim found a way to win. Gibson played well, Hellebuck didn't. So anything can happen. We've seen it 3 days straight here, lots of upsets. So Minnesota and Anaheim. Anaheim has the edge in Corsi. Mini has the edge in expected goals. Same with scoring chances and high danger chances, but it's pretty tight. Looking at the goalie data, Talbot is definitely the better goalie, but like I said, this is the exact same situation as Hellebuck versus Gibson a couple nights ago. Gibson got the win. And when we look over here, it does look like a significant advantage for Minnesota to win. So it's, once again, it's going to be hard to take Anaheim. We're just going to bet value as always. And yeah, so that's it for today's slate. I'll post another video for tomorrow. Like I said, if you want to check out what my picks are, you can message me here, Twitter, and you can join our group. Thanks for listening.